Podcast fam, what is up? Collin here. We just got done recording episode 73 with MeelyPops Shop. Jameel is in the house.
What's up?
Was awesome. We got into all sorts of great stuff. And, I'm not the most well-educated sports person on the planet, but it was a ton of fun for me.
I'm sure I can find you a Cameron Wong on
What
it,
I mean by even saying that is I'm gonna let Mike take this side hustle, this behind the scenes content for you Patreon subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing and supporting us. We love you guys. This is specifically for you.
Sure. So, this is one of those things where I could literally talk forever about sports and collectibles and stuff like that because it's such a huge hobby of mine for so long. One business one that I want to kind of get to is how much market prediction do you have to do with certain things? You talk about how wildly popular something can get and then just go out of popularity. And the thing that comes to mind first and foremost is Beanie Babies.
Sure.
It was such a huge market for so long, and people could start assigning value to it. I remember seeing like these really rare ones and then finding out that it was worth thousands of dollars, and then it was if they have this thing on the tag, right? But then it just seemed like the market just completely eroded almost overnight. Now that's just the way I remember it, but how much, first of all, it's like how does something desurge? We talked about the resurgence of the collectibles. How does something desurge like that, and how does that play into what you have to do, what you buy back for the business for resale, and what you find for people that are looking for specific items? Like, how does that play into what you do?
Yeah, that's a great question. So,
super interesting.
Some side tidbits. One, Beanie Babies, people still bring in to sell, and they still think they're worth what they were in the 90s, unfortunately. Two,
BuzzFeed.
Two, there are some Beanie Babies that still have value, and actually lots of value. They're the error ones. So if any of you do have a Glory the Bear with an upside down United States flag, or a wrong tag, some of them still actually have value, but not a lot of them. And three, Beanie Babies are a weird case study. They didn't advertise ever. Ty never advertised at all, and it's like something that left as quick as it came, right? It was one of these things overnight. People were buying them. They were going to the malls and gift stores and putting tag protectors, and eBay was blowing up. That's actually one of the things that blew up eBay. People don't know is that came out during that transition time. Pokemon cards and Beanie Babies. The problem with that was there was no limit. Nobody knew the limitations on the print run. So like they would say they were short printed or rare Beanie Babies, but nobody ever knew. And of course they could just make more of them, right? So what I think happened with Ty and people realized is they were continuing to make and produce all these generations. They would call them retired, but still you would see more of them. And I think people just caught on to it. The unfortunate side of it was, I think people still to this day were told, just like sports cards, we're told that it had an inherent value and put these away because they're going to be worth more down the line, and they did put them away and they're worth nothing. So that happens a lot. We see that with a lot of different things, right? So unfortunately with Beanie Babies, there was no trend that continued. If you think about them, they were just stuffed animals, right? I kind of think of the same things like Cabbage Patch dolls or things from the the G.I. Joe figures, Ninja Turtles. Those do have an inherent value. In the packaging, they do, but there was a nostalgic element to that. Beanie Babies were kind of this massive fad and nobody knew what the print run was. So to answer the question that side, I think you'll see this a lot with companies. They'll push product, they'll push these limited runs, but there's really a lot more than you find out. Now, the side of that was eBay was going and people could see how many of them were selling. So you type in, what was a good, the Glory Bear or Princess Diana Bear. I always remember that one. The Princess Diana Bear. You go find, and then there'd be like 1,800 results. Why are there 1,800 results on eBay of this when this should be so rare? And I think that wears on collectors after a while, and people realize they have common sense. They're not as rare as you think they are, right? So with sports cards and other things, they're at least short printed. They're serialized, coins, things like that. The print run, comics, you kind of know how many came out. The grading element that I showed you guys, you'll know how many of that PSA 10 there are on a registry somewhere. You'll know there's only X amount of those. Unfortunately, with Beanie Babies, there wasn't a way to regulate it. So I think that's why that kind of came and gone. When I'm buying things and I'm buying collections and I'm looking for rarity, I'm looking for things I know that I can resell, I'm looking for condition. It's kind of the buy low, sell high mentality, right? But there are things that inherently I can make on if they are in a raw condition. So let's say that Derek Jeter card there is in a raw condition and it's only worth $10 as is. So I may buy and look for those, and then I may take the chance in grading some of those and make 10 times investment on that. It's just kind of knowing the product, and I think that's the same thing with scooters, right? There could be a super rare, short printed, weird model. I don't know, Ken Barbie made a scooter. It's something that you could get, and there's only 8 of them. Of course you'd buy that because you could resell it to collectors. I wouldn't sell it to Mike DeGore, a lineman from back in the day. I remember seeing Mike DeGore on your scooters, by the way. And
Palm Bay High.
Yeah, Palm Bay High. Yeah, I'm from Rockledge, so
I'm from Merritt Island.
Look at that 3, 2, 1 connection. Countdown County, bang bang. More going on. Colin's like, what's happening?
I'm out, which I should have been out an hour ago.
So yeah, Reggie Nelson, Palm Bay High, Joe Cohen, all these people. So anyway, I think any good investor, any good whatever you do, you're looking to buy things that make sense on a resale. There are the general population kind of things. There's always going to be the general run-of-the-mill memorabilia, the general scooter that a student's going to buy that you have to have in store. But the rarity items, I think, are the key, and that's what I think keeps me around, the knack that I have to know what is rare. Maybe it's a gift, maybe it's something I've learned, just in this world of collecting. But again, there's other things that I don't know. I'm not a sneakerhead. You could go to Goodwill right now and go buy a pair of Jordans and probably flip it for $300-$400, So there are things out there, and I encourage people always be looking out there for ways you can make money, especially college students. I really feel that I was in college too. I remember those days, you know what I mean? So the market's there. You have a smartphone. You can literally create a brand, sell whatever you want, buy and flip. It's a beautiful thing, really, in 2019. So
yeah, it's really cool.
I've probably thrown away more things that I held on to, like hoping that it would like get me rich one day in the last month. Really? And taking on a roommate again than I ever thought I would. Like I literally lived by myself, or had like these. I had a whole room dedicated to the shrine of sports for a while, and then as it got taken down, it got put in a box, and then I had to move quick, and just kind of I finally just was like, it's never going to do anything, and now that little thing in the back of my mind is always like, I hope you didn't throw away anything valuable, man.
Yeah, I think, and I do, man, that is one thing people always want to talk about, right? Like, man, I got rid of this, and I'm like, look, stop living in the past. You know what I mean? Today's today. You made that mistake, but you can still you can take what you learned from that, apply it to the principle today, and invest in something different. Well, sure. Just follow trends. If you're a culture person, you're a cultureite, Americana. I mean, just watch trends. I mean, it's not that hard, and the way we have access to follow trends in our culture. I've talked about things like Funko Pops, or Bear Bricks, or all these things out there that trending, streetwear that you can make money on, and it's not as hard as you think.
So I definitely did want to talk about the Funko Pops. That one is brand new. I know that I've seen them before, but I had no idea it was like a thing, and I'm starting to understand that it's a thing. So Colin dressed up as Buddy the Elf one year.
Buddy the Elf.
That is you.
That one's good.
I channeled you, man. I brought you.
Knew that.
I knew it.
We talked about the Princess Di Beanie Babies, so now we have the Queen Elizabeth II.
It's the English. Pop. It's the English theme, man. Right. We should be drinking tea right now.
Sure.
With my lumps of sugar.
So what is the deal with this? Why is it a fad? How is it different than any of the other, Beanie Baby type fads or anything? Like,
would this be worth a lot more if it was signed by Queen Elizabeth?
I think anything would be worth a lot more.
Does Queen Elizabeth do autographs?
Yeah, probably not. No, they're not allowed to. Meghan Markle. Really? There's a whole other side thing. Meghan Markle had autographs in a fringe set that came out when she was on the TV show. She can no longer sign autographs, so collectors are buying her fringe autographs from that show back in the day. They can't sign autographs.
I had no idea Meghan Markle was on Fringe.
Exactly.
I have the first 3 seasons of that on DVD.
You should talk to my wife. She loves Fringe.
That's Iron Man.
So what Funko Pops are, they might be another fad. I'll just say it as it is. They're plastic toys in boxes, and some are limited and some are not. These ones are commons. These are ones you can find pretty regularly. They sell for like $7 to $12. There are limited edition print runs and Comic-Cons. This is why I think Funko has done really well. Comic-Cons, Funko will sell exclusives only at certain Comic-Cons, San Diego Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, other big ones, and people go bat crazy over them. They will, they'll get them, they'll sell them, and they'll make a ton of money on them. They'll keep them, they'll collect them, they'll store them. But like these, the box condition is important, the integrity of the box, no wrinkles, no creases, things of that nature. There are people, and Rebecca and I were talking earlier, that they'll come in the store. I have 1,000 Funko Pops. I'm like, where do you put them? And then they have a whole room of Funko Pops, and they love these things. So I don't see it going away. There literally is any type of Funko Pop for any type of anything. You could literally get Pac-Man Funko Pops. You can get Pokemon. You can get It Funko Pops. You can, you know, what I mean, there's literally a brand for anything you want. Yeah. You can get an Odell Beckham Jr. Funko Pop. I mean, I mean,
is it like a modern 2019 version of a bobblehead?
Yeah, I mean yeah, and some of them, you know, their heads do shake, so they kind of are. Yeah, they kind of are. But the reason why I think it's unique is in Gainesville, here in town, I mean, we have 60, 70,000 students, and Funko Pop is a movement amongst a lot of millennials that really enjoy them. So why not have them? We have a lot of them in store. People come in and talk about them all the time, and it's a great other way to bring in different customers for us. People look at me sometimes like, why are you doing that at your sports card store? I'm like, I understand sports, but here's another way to reach out to my community and gain a new customer base. So
yeah.
So if Odell Beckham Jr. becomes a Hall of Fame football player, and you've got his Funko Pop, is that something that you expect will have a lot of value down the road, or
I don't
just
think
not so much?
I don't think so much that. I think maybe if you had a rare, I don't think it depends so much on Odell Beckham Jr. becoming something. I think the short print and the rarities of those, you know, variants and different kinds of chase figures you have, they have these little funny stickers they put on them. Those ones that are limited will have more value over time. There are Funko Pops that sell for $5,000 to $10,000. They call them Holy Grails or something like that. And there are people in town who I know have them, have brought them in the store and showed me them. It's crazy.
That's awesome.
It's wild, man, right? It's wild.
Super wild.
Yeah. I'm just gonna have to come hang out at your store. So feel free to tell me to go away at any point. But
he'll leave my podcast to join yours. he'll be like, screw
I'll have to
this.
pay.
I'm out.
You could franchise, or you could rent him to me. Maybe that's another way.
There you go.
You don't have 15.
Fund the podcast. Rent my guy.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. See, I like that.
Yeah. All right. So if anybody's listening, we now rent Michael these.
Mic trafficking rings.
We'll have to figure out what the
he is available
per
for
hour
rents.
is. Yeah.
All the money goes
only
to
for
funding
podcast guys.
The podcast.
Only for podcast.
So there you go.
Right.
No, man, thanks again for being here.
Yeah.
This is a lot of fun. Guys, thanks for listening to this side hustle. Thanks for your support on Patreon. We love you guys, and we'll see you later.
Love you, fam.
Bye.
See you guys.
Gainesville, Rock City.